Hello! Welcome back to Where We Knit, a video podcast coming to you from Minneapolis. My name is Kristen, and I'm excited to be back for episode 2. I am filming this podcast in a local yarn store called Dandelion Fibers. Of course, my favorite yarn store, local yarn store. And the owners, Tiff and Laura, graciously let me use their space to film my podcast. I teach classes here for the community, and this is one of my favorite places. So welcome back. Welcome if you've never been here before. This is only episode 2. It's been on my bucket list for about 4 years to actually film a video podcast, and I'm doing it. I'm doing it. And it took me a long time to edit the first one, but I've made progress. I think I'm gonna be able to do this maybe. So welcome. And the way that I will do this video is I will come to you hopefully each week, at least in the summer. I am a teacher by day during the school year here in Minnesota, and I have the summers off. And my children are older teens, and one is headed off to college this fall, and I can't wait. So to keep going and doing this podcast, something that I really love to share all my yarny goodness and my makings and my slip-ups and also my favorite things. So one thing that I will highlight on this podcast is I will do my whips, I will do my acquisitions, I will do quick note about the word acquisitions. My husband sometimes is in the room when I watch podcasts, and he thinks it's bananas that people call it acquisitions. He laughs every time someone says it. He's like, why don't people just say yarn that they bought? I was like, well, I don't know. I mean, who cares? Acquisitions. So I'm using acquisitions just to be silly and make him laugh. Okay. So anyway, I will share acquisitions, I will share finished objects, and I will always finish with 3 of my favorite things. Now, one thing to note about my favorite things piece of this video is that I am not looking for free products. I am not getting endorsed by anyone. I am not getting a kickback, or people are not sending me things to mention. These truly are just my favorite things, and they won't all fall in the category of knitting. I just have a lot of favorite things, and I want to tell other people about them because maybe they will become your favorite things. Who knows? So that's why. I'm going to start out with talking about what I'm wearing today. I am wearing the Slanted V tank top by, I think that's what it's called. I'll put a picture up here, by Ventzel. I love her patterns. I think she is so beautiful. So I love her clean lines. I love everything about her patterns. This pattern was challenging for me. I made one last year. I made it out of Quince & Co. cotton. I think it's their chickadee. It was this piece up here is challenging for me, was challenging. My friend Michelle is making a really beautiful red one this year, and she slipped up the pattern a little bit and asked me about it, and I literally couldn't help her. I kind of blocked it out of my mind because I ripped this out and did it so many times. So the second one I did, this one is in fingering weight. The second one I did in DK weight, so it was a little off gauge. It's a little bit too big, but it was Rowan yarn cotton cashmere. I love it. It was really dry to knit with, but the finished product, I love this cotton cashmere. I think it's really beautiful. I'll show you what it looks like when I stand up. I'm wearing it just with some pink jeans. It's a little too low here, but if I just pull my bra down, you can't see it. Love it. It's one of my favorite garments for summer. So that is what I'm wearing today. So let's start out with talking about finished products. Last week I talked about a t-shirt. I was doing a t-shirt class, and I made here at Dandelion Fibers, and I made the new Ozetta Lakes stripe tee. However, I had so much yarn left over, and that was because I had bought the yarn for this. It was the Wool Dreamers Sauna, 50% cotton, 50% wool. And I had so much leftover yarn that I decided to make it long sleeve. Now, I didn't really need another t-shirt. T-shirts are hard in Minnesota weather. You can really only wear them in the fall and the winter. I mean, you can't wear them in the winter. Oh, well, you could. I could wear a t-shirt underneath, but I tend to not do that. That's not really, then I would get too hot. So I decided to make it long sleeve, and I'm really happy I did because I can wear it, because it's 50% wool and cotton. I can wear it year round, which is a beautiful thing. I'm gonna grab it. And here it is. And I love it. It's like the perfect length. And I don't have that much yarn left over. I have enough to be able to make maybe some fingerless mitts or something for people this Christmas or holiday gift giving season. So yeah, here's a picture of me wearing it here. I really love it. It really, I haven't knit with this yarn before, and I would definitely knit with it again. It's not super, super soft. There's a little bit of oomph from the Manchalopi sheep wool in this, but it doesn't, I don't really get tripped up or itchy from much yarn. Well, a little bit of Icelandic yarn. It makes me really itchy, at least here around my neck, but I can kind of handle it. And if I wear a camisole or wear something underneath, I'm okay. So that is one finished object. Another, let's see. Oh, another finished object was just a spontaneous cast on. I happened to see this pattern by the petite knitter called Flock, and it is a like a little bag. You could use it as a project bag. You could use it for any kind of bag you want, but I decided to knit mine in scraps of Wool Dreamers again. Their unspun is called Manchalopis. The pattern is here, and it's could this be any cuter? It's so stinking cute. I used leftover Nutiden and leftover Manchalopis from Wool Dreamers, which both are unspun. These are just scrap yarns. I think this is like a Garthenor yarn that I had left over from a project, and this black is from a mini skein. So hers obviously has little sheep all over it. I may make another one because I have some white Nutiden yarn if I have enough left over. After I finish a project, I might make another one that's white and make little brown sheep. Who knows? It is so sweet. And here's a little one. And it has a little drawstring. The pattern is written very lovely. I made a little linen liner with pockets. Love it, love it. Literally took me like, well, okay, I'm knitting a lot these days. So it took me a weekend to make this, including the liner and the embroidery. It's so cute. So this would be a great gift, maybe a gift for yourself, but Flock is the pattern by the petite knitter. So those are two of my finished objects. Now I'm getting ready for a class here at Dandelion Fiber it's next weekend. So I'm knitting samples for holiday gifts, okay? And it's called Christmas in July. So I have a bunch of samples I want to knit for people to touch and feel and decide what they might want to make as holiday gifts this coming season. And one of the prize things that I love to make, and I think that I will make for sure for a handful of people this winter, is these mittens that I saw. This Making magazine was from 2020. And first of all, as soon as I saw the embroidery, they had me. Second of all, when I saw the color, they had me. So I bought the book, and there are mittens in here called the Late Bloomer Mittens. And I made them in 2020 for my mom in bright red for Christmas. Then I made a pair for a cousin that was like kind of a wine plum color. But this color, I can't stand it. So I cast it on and I'm making these for the sample at the store. But these little mittens, and see where all the little, like, those aren't actually baubles. They're like, well, I guess you could call them baubles, but they're not created like a bauble. There's a couple in the back, And those are the middle, so you can decide where your flowers are. So here are those little baubles, and then you fill in the rest. So it's completely filled up with flowers. They're brilliant. So late bloomer mittens, I need to do their embroidery before next week, but they are a joy to knit. Now these, again, I'm knitting a lot. So I knit these in a day. I know, crazy. And now I will embroider them this week so they look like this. So the designer is Kristen Ledgett, and I'll put the pattern here, and I'll also put it in the show notes. It's, I'm pretty sure you can get it on Ravelry now, but it was in This Making magazine, and it's kind of finished, but not completely finished. Let's talk about whips. Oh, stop there. Sewing. I need to show you my sewing. So I have been going to a local fabric store, not far from here, Dandelion Fibers. It's in Minneapolis, and it's not far from my house, and it's a dangerous place. I love it. It's called Lakes Makerie. Lakes Makerie has fantastic classes. So if you live in the area, check out their website and get on their newsletter, because they have, not only do they have amazing fabric, but they have fantastic classes. And I took a few of their classes, but I mostly like on Wednesdays, there is a fabulous, funky, super sweet, super unfrazzled, like she can help anybody with any project, instructor named Kim. And Kim does open studios on Wednesday, either from 2 to 5 or 5 to 8, and I go each Wednesday that I can. And so I will come in with a pattern. She'll give me tips. She'll tell me what fabric to purchase. She'll help me find fabric, options, ideas, ways to modify. But she was wearing the Luna jacket one day. I think it was a couple years ago, and I was just like, I have to make that. Like, it looked like a hard pattern for me to sew, but I have to make it. So I got the pattern, I got the fabric, I cut everything out, and then I come in and she helps me figure out how I'm gonna sew it. So I did it. I did it. I'll put a picture of me wearing it here. So this, my friends, is the Luna jacket, and it has these little ties. So it ties to the side like, well, you'll see it in the picture, but it ties to the side. I used Merchant & Mills. This fabric is just, and then I used Sashiko thread, and then did like the shell collar. I just hand sewed it. The inside is a huge splurge. It's Liberty of London. Liberty of London. I'm not really sure how you say it, but I just know it's expensive fabric. But I love it. I really love it, and I'm really proud of it. The original pattern had these ties like all over, and I wore it in here. Lara is also, I'm not sure if Tiff sews, but Lara is a really beautiful sewist, and she gave me some tips on it, and she's like, yeah, you have to get rid of those like ties. They're all over the place, and you look like you're going in for a mammogram, which I thought was hilarious. So she gave me some suggestions, and I made the final tweaks, and I love it. So you saw a picture of me wearing it. I'm really proud of it. It would be perfect to wear in the fall. You could wear it on a cooler evening in the summer. You can wear it in the spring. You can wear it as a jacket or as a shirt, like wear a tank top or a camisole underneath. Love it. So that is one of my finished sewing projects. Now, another finished sewing project is the free bucket hat pattern by Merchant & Mills. Now, I was gonna make this for a spring break trip, but I ran out of time, so I just recently finished it. I did wear it yesterday on our little knit day with friends on a Sunday. Sitting in the sun, and I love it because it's reversible, and it looks a little silly, but if you're sitting outside and you want to shade your face because you're knitting or you're reading or you're whatever, I love it, so I'll wear it. It's the bucket hat, and I think it's super sweet, and you could flip up the front. So this fabric I got at Lakes Makerie, and then I can also turn it inside out. And it looks like this. And again, I just used embroidery cotton and sewed it all together. And I think it's really cute. This little bucket hat. I like that it comes way over. You can flip up the front. Be perfect for a spring break trip, and maybe I can use it on the next spring break trip. Whoops, got some hair issues here. Anyway, so 2 sewing projects finished. I am starting to cut out 2 other things. There is a designer, I'll have to look her up. I'll put the 2 links to the patterns below in the show notes, but I already had fabric for it. I already had linen fabric for it. And I'm going to make the Hanbok skirt and the tie dress. I'll put 2 pictures right up here. So I'm glad I'm saying it out loud on this podcast, because maybe it will get me to put it in high gear and finish it before the school year starts. I have a little bit harder time going to those open studio classes during the school year because they start at 5. I put my kids on the bus at 4. Then I don't get dinner, then I'm so tired, blah, blah, blah. But I have been going religiously this summer, so I really hope that I have the rest of July and the rest of August to be able to try and finish these 2 projects. So that is my goal. Let's talk about, I talked about last week that one of the things that I'm going to cast on, or something that I'm really excited about casting on, is the Karla cape by Ventzel. Here's a picture right here. She's so beautiful. Like, look at her in this picture. It's just bananas. But I love that thing. And I said I was going to use Nutidin, and I got my Nutidin out, and I have 500 grams of it. It should be enough. I hope it's enough. But I'm going to knit it just like hers. I hate to like reproduce something that somebody already made in the exact same colors, but I can't stop looking at this picture and these 2 color combinations. So what I have is white Nutidin and gray. I'm going to pair them with probably knitting for olive. I'm going to do single strand. I'm probably going to do knitting for olive, probably in the marzipan, or I can't remember other colors. I'm like looking at it right now. They're lighter color mohair. I love their mohair. And this one is the, I can't remember the gray, but I'm going to pair them. So this I am going to do, but it's all on hold. Like, I heard, as soon as I watched this podcast and was editing, I put a screeching halt on that plan, because I'm thinking about all the things that all the whips that I have. Now, I've been pumping out all of these products for this Christmas in July class that's coming up on Sunday, just so we have samples here in the store. But I have 2 things, well, actually I have 3 things I have to finish. I really have to finish the camisole number 9. It's a slog for me, people. I know people make them all the time. I have too many things going on the needles at once. Even though I'm knitting like 6 hours a day, I cannot get that thing done. Excuse me, it makes me crazy. So I have to get that done. Plus, I want to wear it this summer. I also have to get done 2 other things that have been on the needles for way too long, and I'll share them with you now. One of them is the Traveler's Shawl. Where is it? Oh, it's right here. The Traveler's Shawl by Andrea Mowry. I love it. I love knitting it, but I'm not finishing it. I'm pretty close. I'm knitting in sport weight yarn. Okay, how cute is that? And it'll go with everything because it's all these different kinds of grays. So you're probably wondering, what the heck yarn is that? It is this. It looks, it's a variegated, it's similar to Spin Cycle. It's not Spin Cycle. It's called Storm. It's by a company called Yarn Hero. And I had like 6 skeins of it. I got it at a second sale that they had online. I'm a sucker for the second sales and the mystery bags. I'm a sucker for those. Like Farmer's Daughter Fibers, when they have their mystery bags, I can't get one fast enough. But I gotta stop because I get a lot of beautiful yarn here. Anyhow, see, you can see how this is sort of slubby here. Well, it's 100% wool. So I am a huge fan of the spit splice. So I just cut this off, spit splice it together. You can't even see it, and I got it for a fraction of the cost. So I am pretty thrifty when it comes to buying yarn, because why not? I mean, you can't even tell. So I'm a huge fan of the second sale. So this is my traveler shawl. I'm already on the second part where you start going the other way. I mean, I'm getting close, right? I'll have it done by, I really want to have it done by fall, definitely by winter, so I can wear it this season, or yeah, in the cooler months. So that is one of my languishing whips. This other one, I feel guilty even getting it out, but I love it. And the Grocery Girls just knit the pullover, and it is the Elton pullover. It's right here. But I'm making the cardigan, so I'm putting up the picture of the cardigan. The Elton cardigan. Okay, I really love it, but it's like knitting with hair. It's such a slog. It's so slow for me, but I do really, really love it. And I had to stop for a while because I need to do a sleeve. I am not one to leave the sleeves to the end. If I can do a sleeve right away, as soon as I split for sleeves, I get like an inch down after splitting for sleeves, I'll do it. Because then I break it up a little bit. So here's how far I am. Here's the neckline. It's a very beautifully written pattern. I'm knitting it with some amazing yarn, but it is a slog. And you see, like, I needed to see how this was gonna block out, so I blocked out the top, but you can see how sort of bumpy and kind of yucky this looks, but that all blocks out. Like if I even pull it, you can kind of see it a little bit better. It all blocks out, so I'm not worried about it. But it is so soft. It is so light and airy. It is going to be a beautiful cardigan, but I can't get this sucker done to save my life. What am I knitting it with? Magpie Plume, 75% cashmere, 25% silk. It's a luxury yarn for sure. And it's like, it's so soft, and it's one of the stripes on that cardigan. The other one is, which I've bought a handful of this for other projects. I buy it at Rhinebeck each year because that's where I see them, and I get their, I get their newsletter and stuff like that. But Bare Naked Wools, Better Breakfast fingering. This is, you get a lot of bang for your buck. I think there's 450 yards and 115 grams. It's a 3-ply. It's merino, dehydrated alpaca, and nylon. So you could use it for socks too. But this is left over from a, what did I knit with this? Oh, I knit a really cute vest with this that I'll probably show you this winter. But anyway, these are the 2 yarns that I'm using. This is a whip. I have to finish. Like, I have to just finish it. So once I get all these samples done from for the class that I'm teaching this weekend, once I get those samples done and the tank top, the camisole number 9, then I'm on to these 2, and I'm not letting myself cast on the Karla cape until those are done. I think it's a good plan. We'll see if I stick to it. I'm sort of loosey-goosey when it comes to that, and I'm sort of like a squirrel because anytime I see something shiny, I'm like, ooh, gotta go make that. Oh, and I'm also doing the Florencia Tee. Here it is right here. I talked about it in the last podcast. I'm knitting that as well, and I did decide to go with that yellow color that I mentioned last week, but I am doing I decided to do pure silk for knitting for Olive. I really love that. It blocks up so beautifully, and I think it'll be really cute in the Florencia Tee. So that's what I have shaken. That's what's going on. Now, time for my favorite things. These are super random, but again, I need you to know I'm not getting kickbacks. I just have to tell you about my favorite things because they're my favorite. Because I'm knitting about 6 to sometimes 8 hours a day. I know it's a lot. It's a lot. But it all pieces together. I don't sit down for 8 hours and knit without any breaks. But I'm knitting a lot. So sometimes my fingers get a little cracked, and I have a super yucky, ugly callus on my thumb that I have to literally shave down. Embarrassing. But sometimes I am a continental knitter, and sometimes when I'm using my chow glues, they get a little too pointy, and too much of that will make a little hole in my finger here. I don't want to get blood or anything on my knits. And so I found the finger condom. Yes, I did say a finger condom, and that is actually what it is. And it works so well. I found them on Amazon, and you can get them in a big, huge, like, I don't know, you can get like 50. You can see them right here. I'll put them in the show notes. They're beautiful. And they're also great for, like, I mentioned that I'm a teacher several times, and I wash my hands about 40 times a day. And in the winter, and then it's like below 0 here in Minnesota, you get cracks and like bloody fingers. It's disgusting. And so I end up putting Neosporin on my little cracks, and then I put the finger condom over the top for the night, and it's all healed in the morning. It's like magic. So here's how it works. When I have like a little hole from knitting too much, like I get a little like pin prick right here, like someone's like taking my blood for some kind of test, I just put this over my finger like this, and I can just keep knitting, and nothing's happening here. So you can put Neosporin on it, and here we go. It's all healed. It's perfect. So that is one of my favorite things because it saves me every time. The two other ones are books. Not a book that I'm reading, because I mostly do audiobook now because I'm knitting all the time. And one was a gift from my friend Kristen, and she gave me this for Christmas. And I loved stickers back in the 80s, like as a young girl growing up in the 70s and the 80s, and had like a sticker book collection, and she knew that. But this book, like, look at how thick it is. The Antiquarian sticker book, Bibliophilia. Okay, so you open it, and it's full of stickers. Every letter, all these little fun, I mean, it's bananas. Like, look at these. Look at this. There's stickers. People, stickers. Who can't use fun stickers? Like, what? Who can't use these? So I have been, like, when I'm wrapping a gift, I just use brown craft paper, and then I find, like, I don't know, mushrooms to put on it, birds. It makes a super cute gift. Oh, and all the numbers. Bananas. I am crazy about this. I've used it. I mean, you can, every time I like turn to a page, you couldn't see that there were any used, but like, look at these eyes. Okay, I love this thing. Sometimes I just sit and look through it because I have to get ideas. Look at this one. Life is for living. It sure the hell is. So awesome. So anyway, if you know somebody who likes stickers, had a sticker book collection when they were a little girl or boy, this is awesome. The next thing is a library book, but I always get cookbooks from the library before I buy them. So then I can see, okay, is it really worth it? Am I going to use it enough? Do I put a Post-it note in enough pages that I need to actually purchase the cookbook? It's so hard because I think cookbooks get kicked in the buns from all of the recipes that are now on the internet. This one, Weekday, the Weekday Vegetarians. Am I a vegetarian? Absolutely not. But I'm trying to eat more plant-based diet. I have a CSA from a local farmer here, not here in Minnesota, actually. The farm is actually in Wisconsin, but I pick it up like literally 5 minutes from my house every Thursday. So I get some produce every Thursday until probably mid-September. Anyhow, this is by Jenny Rosenstratch. Do you know Jenny Rosenstratch? she's pretty damn fantastic. Dinner a Love Story is where she got me. I love her. I love her cookbooks. And she is eating a more plant-based diet and has really dug into her first couple cookbooks were not vegetarian. She also has ways that if you are cooking for people who are not vegetarian, ways that you can modify the recipe, and you can put half, you can put chicken or some whatever kind of protein, animal protein in it, and the other half you can do tofu or some other kind of bean protein or something. I love it. I went to a cabin with some friends, and I was in charge of a lunch, and I made this, and everybody liked it, and it was not a group of vegetarian people. It is wheat berries with crispy tofu, grapes, arugula, and feta. It was fantastic. I would make it again, and this is a book that I'm going to end up ordering from a local bookstore. Yes, you can get it on Amazon, but I'm really trying to support local folks and local bookstores. So without further ado, I am going to close this podcast. I'm going to close it up for the day. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to my ramblings about my making, and keep knitting on, folks. You'll see that I was doing a little knitting in my house this week, which is the B-roll at the beginning, and now a little roll of me hosting some paddleboard knits for some community folks here at Dandelion Fiber. You'll see some pictures of us going out on the lake. I hosted that. I'm hosting it again sometime in July here on a Sunday. We meet out at a specific buoy off of South Beach, Lake Harriet. And so if you are in the area, paddle on out and meet me out there. It'll be really fun. So tonight we also have, this is after the fact, but another way that we do some community knitting is knitting in the Rose Garden from 5 to 7, right off of Lake Harriet. So it's all about where we knit. Thanks for joining me. See you next time. Bye-bye.